Hey, it's Dave Wyman here doing another Chalk Talk, and today I want to talk about something in the running game. It's called force right here, or a lot of people call it setting the edge. You hear that term a lot. And then there's two different ways to do it: leverage and spill. Now these are all my old-fashioned terms, but there's still a lot of coaches in the NFL that will use this same terminology, but same basic concept. And I'm sorry to be showing another opponent touchdown against the Seahawks defense, because I really do love them. They're great, but it was just a great, I thought, play to kind of show why it's so important to have force. And what force is, first of all, is just turning any running play back into the inside of the field. But first of all, let's talk about why it's so important in the NFL to turn things back inside. The way that the field is laid out, the hash marks in the NFL are much closer together than they are in college. It's only 6 yards from here to here. So on the outside, anybody that's listened to a Russell Wilson press conference knows that the football field's 100 yards long and 53 1/3 yards wide. But this is 23 yards and change, 6 yards and change. So, you know, it's a little bit more than that, but 23 yards to the sideline from the hash mark. And this is where the ball always gets spotted, by the way. And I know a lot of people know this, but if a guy gets tackled here or here, it's going to be spotted right there. But if he's tackled anywhere out here, the ball comes back in and is spotted on the hash mark. So there's so much distance between the hash mark and the sidelines in the NFL that it's really important for perimeter players, guys on the outside, to turn running plays back in. So it's in college, they're about 13 yards apart. So it's not as big of a deal, but in the NFL you've always got sort of a wide side of the field. So that's one thing to think about. This is a pretty basic running play that the Patriots run here. But first of all, talk about personnel. Last week we identified that the 11 personnel, and that's the first number is the running back, and the second number is the tight end, and the rest are receivers. So 1 tight end, 1 running back, 3 receivers. This is called 21 personnel because they have 2 running backs. They have a fullback, a running back here, and 1 tight end. And this is Michael Bennett's baby brother, Martellus Bennett. He does a really good job on this play. So 2 running backs, 1 tight end, and then only 2 receivers. That's called 21 personnel. All right, so what they run is just a pretty basic stretch play, and it's a lead by the fullback. He's coming up here to block somebody, and then the running back gets the ball right here from Tom Brady, and they're off to the races. But what happens here is the way they play this on the edge, they end up getting a touchdown scored on them. And the reason why is because I think there's a difference, or there's some kind of a miscommunication between 2 guys, as whether it's leverage or spill as far as setting the edge or turning the play back in. And again, the reason why you want to turn the running plays back inside is this is where everybody is. These guys are all trying to get there. All you have to do is turn them back into them. Now, easier said than done. But there's 2 different kinds of force, and one is leverage. And what that would be is if the fullback comes to block you, you come up and you hit him with your inside shoulder and keep your outside shoulder and arm and your foot, your leg free, so that you can continue to sort of leverage the guy and make it turn back in. He's not going to get outside of you, and you'll turn him back into these guys. The other thing that you can do in this situation is spill. This is another technique, and everybody runs it differently, and sometimes they change it up from play to play. But spill technique would be where the corner comes up and then cross shoulders this guy and just kind of blows him up here, trying to create havoc right there in that spot. And what that does is that makes the running back bounce, and he gets and that gives this guy enough time to get there and make the tackle. So they actually did this part of it, and I'm not sure whether whose fault it was or anything like that. That's not what we're talking about. But what you see is the cornerback is actually playing spill technique. So he blows this guy up. Instead of leveraging him, he comes underneath him and causes havoc right there and makes him bounce. The backer never got there. And the reason why, really, I think, first of all, is Bennett does a really good job. He comes off and sort of chip blocks this defensive end that was Cliff Averill, and then he goes up to the linebacker and gets a piece of him. So it looked like the linebacker didn't know that the corner was going to play spill there. Either way, there was a miscommunication, and this breaks out and ends up being a 13-yard touchdown for the Patriots. But, you know, look, this is the kind of thing that happens in the NFL all the time. Either guys make a mistake or they fail to communicate. But, you know, you can see with the way that the field is laid out, and whenever you're watching a running play on TV, always get your eyes to the edge and see, okay, who's the force guy? Who's the guy that's going to turn everything back inside to the rest of the defense?